Ladies and gentlemen, on Sunday, October 23rd, the United States received an urgent formal request from the 5 member nations of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to assist in a joint effort to restore order and democracy on the island of Grenada. Early this morning, forces from 6 Caribbean democracies and the United States began a landing or landings on the island of Grenada in the Eastern Caribbean.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we're breaking down movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time. I'm Jack.
And I'm Brian.
And today Recon goes to war. This is the start of the stuff we've kind of been building up to since we started doing this. And we get to see the boys of Recon prepare to go fight. Let's go ahead and dig into this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the minute begins with them on board the LST. You see a bunch of Marines, and it ends with some pretty surprising comments.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because as many times as I've seen this movie, I just noticed some things towards the end that I thought was interesting, and you'd picked up on it too, as we discussed before we started recording. So, yeah, man, I want to get into this. This is pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's very much a military movie.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, it's not really a montage scene, but it's like all these scenes of like Marines like getting ready to go fight or, waiting to be deployed, just kind of stretched out and doing stuff. All the 80s military tropes. You've got the random aircraft on a elevator being either elevated up or elevated or lowered. In this case, what I thought was weird is they lowered the Huey down to the troop bay or to the hangar area under the deck. Usually they have them sitting up top. I don't know why they don't take that thing for a ride up and down, but whatever. Recon's sitting right there next to the elevator thing, and Gunny and Lieutenant Ring are kind of riding the elevator down. And
yeah,
Gunny,
it's. Oh, go ahead.
No, man. I've been running my sock. Go ahead.
Well, I was basically saying, like, I thought it was, I kind of noted, I'm like, it's a very dramatic entrance for both Gunny and
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Ring.
Yeah, kind of like heroes. Ding!
Yeah, it is, and it is the "we're going to war" moment,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to get back to what you were saying about like the montage, it's like it's you're right. It's not really a montage, but it's almost the way they shoot it. It's almost like the suiting up scene. You know?
Yeah. The large scale, lots of people.
Yeah.
Putting buckles and belts and.
I mean, you get a little of that because like they show a guy kick over an ammo can, or they break open a box that has ammo cans in it, basically.
Yeah.
Which was a little random. But then it's it's actually a montage of hurry up and wait.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so dramatic, and they're going to be there for another 3 hours. That's so true. That's the shit they don't show you is all the following 2 hours after this scene with them just waiting.
Oh, and I mean, just looking at them right there, it looks like they've been waiting a while. I mean, they got full camo makeup on. They got all their gear. They're just hanging out there. The only ones that don't actually have the full camo makeup are the Recon Marines because they're the actors.
Yeah, and they're the only ones that didn't. Yeah, they didn't know if they were going to war. They get this far and they're like, "No, is this bullshit? Are we done? Are we really going to war?" And they're like, well, that was a dumb question.
Yeah, I noted that. I'm like, because well, just to set it up a little more, like as they are coming in, we get, as I said, we get the dramatic entrance of Gunny Highway and Lieutenant Ring. The helicopter comes, they're on the next to the helicopter as the elevator lowers down, and they walk up, and we're getting the tin, 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 like military music.
Yeah.
So Lieutenant Ring and Gunny walk up, and they're in dramatic fashion. The Marines of Recon get up to greet them, and Stitch Jones immediately asks, like, this is another drill, right, Gunny? And of course, we get this is real. We're going to war. Once the elevator stops, Recon gets up, goes to greet Gunny and Ring. And I thought it was funny because first off, Stitch Jones, of course, he's basically a leader. They don't go to Lieutenant Ring. They ask Gunny, "Hey, Gunny, this is a bullshit alert, right?"
Yeah.
What I find funny about that is you alluded to this. You got to be pretty dumb to think that this is an alert at this point. Like everybody's ready to go. I mean, everybody.
Somebody's gonna get punched in the fucking face. Yeah.
And I said, man, that is my notes like that's a long way to go for just an alert.
Psych. Yeah.
Now the more realistic thing is that they were ready to go, and then the operation got called off.
Yeah.
Or delayed. You could see that. Like even like if you watch Band of Brothers, when they were supposed to do when they were supposed to drop into Normandy, they were supposed to go a day earlier, and then they were all ready to go on the field, and it was like, "Nah, stand down." And now he says, "Oh, we're going to war, man." And everybody's does a good job of reacting to that, as far as like everybody's faces drop. Ponte says, "Mother of Jesus," and he does a sign of a cross real quick. So
Yeah.
now, Gunny says he goes, "We're going to assist the rescue of American citizens on the island of Grenada." And the island of what? That's what Gunny says. I was trying to do a little research before we, started. What I find funny about that is they were very ill prepared for this invasion. I found an article that discussed the planning. And so, of course, we've talked about this many times. Very soon before the invasion, there was the Beirut bombing where all the Marines were killed in the barracks.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody assumed and were ready to go into Beirut. They were doing all their planning and operations. That's where they assumed that's where they were going next. So when this is particularly at Fort Bragg, I think it was some paratroopers. Somebody walked in and said, "What's all this shit?" And it was like maps everywhere, all over the board. Well, this is planning for Beirut. He said, "Tear all that shit down. We're going to Grenada." And he goes like, "Why are we invading Spain?"
I don't know if you got this or not, but there's a plaque over Stitch's shoulder. It says USS Bella Wood.
No, I didn't see that.
Because your powers of observation sometimes are,
Not great.
not the best. So I pulled it up, man, and got a little bit of information. But yeah, it's not an LST, it was an LHA, which I don't really know what the difference between the two of those is. But yeah, it's still same like little mini aircraft carrier. You can see there's only one elevator on the ship. That's the one that Gunny and Lieutenant Ring rode with the helicopter. But that same ship was used as target practice and sank during RIMPAC in 2006.
Oh,
yeah. So it's sitting at the bottom of the ocean right now.
Oh, that's interesting, and that's funny because I was wondering. I'm like, I didn't see anything as far as yeah, I can see the plaque now when we're talking, as we're talking, but I didn't see anything in my research that mentioned what ships were used. Of course, I didn't specifically search for that.
Yeah.
But I was curious, so I'm glad you found that. That's interesting. And Bella Wood, of course, that's also good too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so all the LHAs and LSTs are basically either named after Marine battles or Marines. They're like given because that's what they like the Gator freighter, where you're putting the Marines in them. That either the helicopters or the hover. The fuck, god damn it, the amphibious assault craft.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. But the Wikipedia page makes no mention of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I figured it might have been a pretty big deal, but yeah, it didn't make any mention of the movie.
Well, you go ahead and become an editor and add it in. Yeah, what's funny? I was actually I just paused it at the 30-second spot because I wanted to look at everybody's pins that they have on their camis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you could see right between Aponte and Stitch Jones, the Bella Wood. You can see it right there. It's plain as day. But I noticed Lance Corporal Forgetti has a scuba bubble.
Does he? Oh, he does. And jump wings.
Yeah, he's got jump wings and a scuba bubble. Stitch Jones has jump wings, but you can't really tell if he's got the scuba bubble because he's got part of his Alice pack on or his deuce gear.
Yeah, his harness.
Aponte's got the other. That is some sort of jump wing too, but it's a different one. I always forget what that one is.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Let's look here.
While you're looking, I'll finish my story because I was having trouble with my interwebs. So about the planning of this. They were caught off guard. They said, like Frigetti, they didn't know where Grenada was. I found this interesting. At Fort Bragg, they didn't have any maps of Grenada anywhere. So they said some staff officer went into downtown Fayetteville and got some tourist maps of the island, and then they superimposed military grids on the maps and then made copies and gave them to the troops. And so they used, and as a matter of fact, they said they were using copies of articles from The Economist for the most up-to-date intel on the island, because they just didn't know anything about it. Like, nobody thought, anybody was going to give two craps about this small little Caribbean island that was a former British colony.
I actually found it.
Okay, go ahead.
They are both Navy and Marine Corps parachutist badges.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if maybe one is worn in lieu of the other. Well, obviously, but like, say, I don't know what the regulations are, if they both qualify, or if you have both the scuba bubble and the other one, that you get to wear the other wings.
I don't know.
Because that seems to be the case here.
Yeah, but if you look, what's his name? Frigetti had the gold wings and then the scuba bubble.
Right, and it seems like Stitch. I think Stitch has. I'm going to go with Stitch. Probably has the scuba bubble.
You just can't see it. Yeah.
You just can't see it. Yeah, and Aponte, he's going to have the other wings.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, so maybe they're unfurling. So once you complete both, I don't know. I don't know what the.
Yeah, maybe you have to have so many jumps before you. Or a certain school, maybe before you get the goal versus that other one. Like, you've qualified, but you haven't, progressed to like the next level. I mean, we could look it up, but I'd just rather somebody correct us in the quarter deck.
Yeah, Big Jim, you're up.
Yeah. And I was going to make a comment because you see Lieutenant Ring again, and I was like, oh my God, I swear I saw Silver again, but no, it's pretty obvious in one of the scenes that it looks gold from there. So since we already know he's a second lieutenant because we've already decreed it, we'll go with that. So I do think it's funny. I mean, so basically that, nobody knowing where Grenada was close to real life. But I like how when he says the island of what, and immediately this is what we were kind of hinting at in your opening, and we discussed beforehand. Lieutenant Ring springs into action. This is his moment to shine. He has the intel. He may not be the tough action hero that Clint Eastwood is, but boy, does he know his book learning. And so he jumps right in. Firm leadership voice, not the little like, oh, Gunny, I thought the men. He was like, Grenada, it's a Caribbean island. It's also known as the Isle of Spice. And then as he's like saying this, like, Clint Eastwood keeps wanting to get a word in, but nope, Lieutenant Rig, it's 86 nautical miles from Venezuela. Our mission is to helocast into a small bay and recon before the Marine landing force. And the whole time Clint Eastwood's doing his Clint Eastwood look like, he's like,
you see, breathe in. Yeah, no. Yeah. It's like he's trying to get ready to do the introduction to the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So Clint Eastwood's trying to do his Captain America speech, but yet like Lieutenant Ring's giving all just the facts, Oh, so Stitch Jones though, he's like, nah, I can't do this. He goes, I forgot my suntan oil. Gunny has a good line. Well, he says it's time to earn your pay, and then let's move. Ring has to put the little button on it. Pick up, let's go. And they grab their stuff and they start heading towards the helicopter.
Yeah, without any hesitation at all. He's like he's an old vet.
Yeah. I mean, for Ring as being as goofy and nerdy this whole time, we've said this, like he's done the right thing. He's
got some stones on him. Yeah,
and we'll see how he does in combat, of course. But for right now, he's not hesitating. He's not scared. He's being the leader. He's not, even if he's feeling that, he's conveying. Even his voice has changed. You do wonder if some of that may be because Gunny has been inspiring him this whole time. Thumbs up Recon, stuff like that. But he's always been stand-up guy since we've seen him.
Yeah.
All these Marines are just sitting there, as we joked about the hurry up and wait. They're real Marines. They got to be.
Yeah, they're all extras. They're used to the hurry up and wait.
Exactly. I mean, we've joked that this movie is not very realistic, but there's been two scenes that are ultra realistic, and this one, the hurry up and wait, I mean, honestly, maybe 3 if you want to also do the alert drill where they were also hurrying up and waiting on
Yeah.
the parade deck.
Yeah.
But also when Lance Corporal Forgetti was saying the fucking weapon's fucking fucked up. I don't fucking.
Yeah.
So
Marines have a potty mouth.
yes. All right. So there's not a lot for this minute. So I'll pull a lieutenant ring. I'll give a little detail on Grenada because so clearly not everybody knows much about it. But basically the whole situation that was going on here is Grenada is between Puerto Rico and Venezuela, as Lieutenant Ring says, 86 nautical miles from Venezuela. It was first discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1498. And it was basically a British colony that was granted its independence in 1974. It was 300 years of British rule. But I think they kind of stayed under the crown. They were independent, but they were still a
territory.
no, I don't think they were territory, but kind of like Canada, it's its own country. They are part of the British crown, like I forget exactly how to word it, but so they were basically Britain still has a sphere of influence over them, even though it's completely independent. And there was some like Sir, Carey or whatever his name was, some took over the islands, but in 74 or 79, there was this guy named Maurice Bishop, and he led a Marxist revolution basically, and they staged an armed coup, and they were Marxists and they took over. Basically, long story short, he cozied up to Cuba. I believe he was a personal friend of Castro's. Cuba sent men and materials for construction of an airport at Point Salinas. It's in the southwestern tip. They sent 650-man Cuban workforce, and basically they got arms from Soviet Union. They got materials from Soviet Union. Although I did see somewhere that Britain helped provide some materials or effort to build this airport that they claimed was for tourism, but basically the Reagan administration was like, nah, this is so it can land Soviet planes. Because but it turns out the Cubans that they sent there were military. They were trained, armed. They were construction workers, but they were also there to help train the army and militia of Grenada, get them up and running, also get them that airport, whatever. I did read somewhere though that basically the Soviet Union was, obviously they want Marxism and they want communists and all that, but they didn't really view Grenada as super strategic, partly because they didn't want to repeat a Cuban Missile Crisis. The island was of little importance to them. They didn't want to risk being so close in the backyard of the U.S. for an island that was not very important to them. Because basically what happened is, basically the Marxism groups split. There was a second Marxist group that said that Bishop wasn't going far enough. I guess there was some talk that this guy Bishop was actually looking to possibly start to be a little friendlier with the U.S., start to hold elections. So there's this organization of Eastern Caribbean states that actually Grenada is a part of. And one of the things is, they kind of work together because they were all previously, a lot of times they were British colonies and stuff like that. So they were working together for common defense, common aid. And part of it was, hey, we have a constitution. But anyways, the Marxists took over. So I guess Bishop was starting to be a little, maybe coming to the U.S., maybe start to float the idea of holding proper elections. And then, of course, that wasn't extreme enough. So he was always working within this organization, I guess. But then this other Marxist group took over. They captured him once, and then they freed him. But then after that, he ended up getting killed. So at that point, the OECS, along with Barbados and Jamaica, went to the U.S. and said, "Hey, we need help. We need to free these people." And the U.S., it was twofold, threefold, if you really want to, because there was the civilian students that Gunny mentions that they're going to, or was it Gunny or Lieutenant Ring, that they're going to evacuate. So we got American citizens on island. It was like
a medical school, right?
Yeah, there was a medical school. Because they shut down the airports, because they shut down all ports, these guys were trapped there. And although they weren't in any danger just yet, there was worry of another Iran hostage situation. So it's like, all right, we're sending them in. The OECS asked the U.S. to go in. I guess Britain though was not cool with it, but we did it anyways. But I believe they committed some troops too. I don't think they have a lot of troops, but I think they committed some troops too to the invasion. So, but Reagan looked at that as, okay, we got to get our people out there. I've mentioned the whole thing about the Beirut bombing, and it's like, all right, we've had Vietnam that was not well remembered. You had the Beirut, bombing just, very, very, very fresh in everybody's mind. So it's like, all right, let's demonstrate our military might. Then there's the other thing of the whole geopolitical Marxist, like, hey, Brezhnev was all about the Brezhnev doctrine, which was like, hey, once one of these little places becomes communist, they're going to stay communist for the rest of their life. And Reagan had other ideas. No, they're not. So I mean, there was a lot of reasons, a lot going on. But the main justification, there's two main justifications for U.S. involvement. It was the request of their allies, the OECS, and also the justification of going to rescue American citizens. But yeah, so apparently there was warring, chaos ensued between two warring factions of Marxists for control of the country. And actually, I was saying Bishop was friendly with Castro. I mentioned that, but the other guy who took over, Cord, I think his name's Coard. He was the leader of the other Marxist group. He had more ties to the Soviet Union, but again, as I stated, they weren't really interested in giving too much, support. But anyways, yeah. So that's a little history on Grenada and why the Marines are getting called into action. As I ramble on,
you're doing a little social studies class.
Yeah, right. I mean, I got nothing else for this. This is a pretty quick minute because it's most a good 30 seconds of it is just the hurry up and wait montage.
Yeah.
You got anything else for this you want to hit?
No, man, no. This is where all the action's really starting. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. Next couple of minutes going to be. Well, it's also going to be the wrap up of this movie, but it's going to be a lot of good action, a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think so. All right, then. Let's thank everybody for coming here this Monday, and ask they come back Wednesday for minute 98. Join the quarter deck. Come on and join the discussion of this fine film. It's time for us to earn our pay. Let's go.
Sorry, everybody. My voice keeps cracking. This prick decided to fucking record it like 20 minutes after I woke up this morning. So
you can sleep when you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a puberty problem. It's a friend problem.
Greg.
I need to find lazier friends.
You can't get much lazier, but
Oh, the time zone. That's what it is. You need to move, bitch.